Hey there, it's Kat, and this is Brews and Reviews. Today I'm going to be giving you guys a TBR for the Make Me Read Readathon. This readathon is created by Ellie from Earl Grey Books, Helen from Helen's Bookhaven, and Paige from Pages with Paige. It runs from the 17th until the 30th of September, and the idea is that people make you read. So what I did was set up a bunch of polls on Twitter and had you guys vote for the books that I'm going to read. I'm not just going to be reading the top book from each poll. What I'm going to be trying to do is going down the percentages of what people voted for. So hopefully I'm going to be reading all 12 of these books. That is extremely doubtful, especially given the size of some of these. Who knows why I put on some absolute chunks, but I did. So we're going with it then. Yes. So let's get into the books that you guys chose for me to read. The first book on this list is Vengeance Blooms by Chloe Hodge. And honestly, I've got no idea what this book is about. So I put this book on my 2022 digital TBR and I kind of just forgot what it's about. I know that it's a fantasy. I know that I've got it on my Kindle. And I'm just going to pick it up and read it, because this was the one, overwhelmingly, that you guys voted that I should read. So this is the first one on the list. Next up, I'm slightly convinced that you guys hate me or just want me to pick up the biggest book that I put on this TBR, and that was Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. Look at how big it is! It's so big, I think it's like 750 pages. At least it's the second book on my TBR, so I can see how badly I'm failing at this readathon straight from the off. If you don't know, this is Twilight from Edward's point of view, and I suppose it's about time I read it. I need to read it before I turn 30 anyway, so thanks for forcing me into this one. Please ignore my actual complaining, because technically I forced myself to read this because I put it in this poll for this TBR, so I was going to end up reading it anyway. Next up, you guys said that I should read The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. All I know about this one is that it is a fantasy book about a gang and heists. I've heard it's really good, but I definitely keep putting it off because it's over 500 pages long. And also I'm a little bit iffy on how I'm going to respond to sort of like the gang sort of thing. It can be very hit or miss with me. I'm hoping it's a hit. It seems to be a hit with other people that I know that have read this book and really ended up liking it. So hopefully I'll enjoy it. Then you guys decided to give me a little bit of a break and gave me Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. This one's on my digital TBR as well. And I have the audiobook of this one, so it shouldn't take me that long. This one should be a nice walk in the park after two big chunky books back to back. And I have no idea about this one. I think I used to know what this book was about, and then someone told me to try and go into it not knowing very much, but to read it in either September or October because of autumn vibes. So then I was like, oh, okay, I'll forget everything that I think that I know about it, and definitely it has wiped free from my brain. So I'm going into it blind, and hopefully that's a good thing. After that, I'm going to be reading The Pale Dreamer by Samantha Shannon. This is a short story, which I think is 0.5 in the Bone Season series. I just read the Bone Season last month, and I quite enjoyed it, but it was missing some things to me. I think this one is under 100 pages long, so I'm glad that this appears so high up on this list, just to help me gain back some ground on the giant chunky books where I'm definitely going to lose some time. This is a prequel to the Bone Season, so I'm not sure really what it's going to be about, except I'm guessing the main character just being in her gang and doing different things for them, but that's just a guess. Next up is Aurora Rising by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. You have no idea how long it took me just to be able to say Aurora Rising. It tangles my tongue. I've been putting this one off for a while. I'm not really sure why, because I feel like I'm going to really enjoy it. I really enjoy Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff writing together specifically. And I just feel like September is a really good time to read this book. I don't know, September and sci-fi just make a lot of sense to me, and I'm not sure why. Maybe it's that in space it's like a vacuum and it would be freezing cold, and here it is cold in September. Logic. So from what I know, this one is about a team of people, and they're about to graduate from the school that they're in, which is like a space cadet school. And the captain, who is looking like one of the best pilots, gets distracted by a distress call and sort of ends up with a misfit crew because he ends up being late because of that. But I kind of click away every time I hear someone talk about this series because all 3 books in the series are out now, and I really didn't want to be spoiled, so I'm just quick, let's skip past. So again, I'm going into this fairly blind and just hoping that I'm going to enjoy it. It's just a theme for me to not know too much about the books that I'm going to be reading and then just rolling with it. You can never be disappointed by something you have no expectations for, so Catherine logic. Next up, I truly believe that this book appeared this high on this TBR because you guys are sick of seeing it on my TBRs, and it's Supernaturally by Kirsten White. I keep saying I'm going to read it. I keep not reading it. Hopefully I'll read it. This is the sequel to Paranormal Sea, and I'm not really sure where it's going to go from the first book, but I'm really hoping for more of an appearance from the Fae characters, particularly one of the Fae characters that I really enjoyed. I think I might have left it a little bit too long, and I'm struggling to remember the first book in the series, so this could be really interesting, or I could be really confused. I guess we'll see. Then we have Reaper Flame by Holly Bloom. This is the third and final book in the Lapland Underground series about a stripper assassin in a gang, but also it's like a reverse harem thing. I really enjoyed the first two books. The second book left it on such a cliffhanger, and then I just didn't read the third book straight after, and I really need to because I enjoyed them and I really like the main character. I think she's quite bolshy and will go after what she wants and can also back up the way that she acts, and I like the guy characters in it, and obviously I need to know what happens after the big thing that happened at the end of the second one, so yeah, I need to get to that. Then we have Feral Sins. I'm not sure who this is by. I do not know what this book is about. I reckon it is a shifter romance. Basically, it was 99p on audiobook, and I was like, oh, a 7-hour audiobook that's like a romance about shifters. I'll get that. Why not? I literally picked this up on a whim, and you guys voted for it, so I'm gonna read that, and we'll see what it's about. I genuinely have no idea what this book is about, so this is like potluck. It could be anything. Next up we have Livecast by Mark Opsall. This is one I'm really looking forward to getting to. I was actually sent a copy of this book to review by the author, and I've been sort of seeing when the best time to read it would be, and as I said before, sci-fi September. This is set in a kind of dystopian sci-fi-ish world that I've tried to not look too much into, but I heard a review from Eric from Breaking From Books and it sounded really good, and I'm mostly really intrigued by this one because of the vibes. So there are like snippets of like Red Rising-esque stuff, and the way that the city is structured in this is like the rich people live above the mist and the poor people live below. It kind of gives me Arcane vibes in this, just in my head. That's where I'm sitting, so I'm very excited about it. There's also a lot of holograms and sort of idol worship and things being sold to people, and I'm just kind of fascinated by it. And I'm really excited to read this one, and I just hope that I can get to it because it is quite far down on this TBR, but this is the one that I want to get to, so hopefully I can. Next up is the last chunk on the list, and that is Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff. Definitely put it off because it's huge. Definitely put it off because it's intimidating. Definitely put it off. So I know this one is about vampires. That's all I know because I purposefully avoided any information about this book. I have heard some people say that they don't like the tone of the narrator and that they don't like the writing style that's used in this book. But I'm just going to give it a chance and try and be as open-minded as I can be about it, because I've heard other people really like it. This is book 11 on this TBR, and this one might be a stretch to get through, given that the readathon is like 14 days long. It could be a stretch, but we'll see. So the final book on this TBR is The Young Elites by Marie Lu, and again this is kind of a dystopian sci-fi type thing. I believe it's about superheroes, but if they went bad. I like Marie Lu's writing. I haven't read anything since I read the Legend trilogy back when it was a trilogy. I don't know how many books are in it now, but I am not caught up with it, and I would have to reread the whole thing to get caught up with it, so maybe eventually. But this one, I have this series first, and I'm gonna read it and see. But if I'm being honest, it's probably not gonna get read this month. This is extremely ambitious for this part of the TBR, but I have like let myself slow down a bit earlier on in the month. But yeah, that's the books that I'm planning to read for Make Me Read Readathon. Thank you to anyone who did vote in the polls. It's really been helpful to me to actually pick it out, and I think you guys have made me read some books that I would not have placed in the same order. I would probably have procrastinated The Lies of Locke Lamora specifically for just a very long time. Not sure why, but probably would have done. So you guys put that third on the list, and you're going to force me to read it, which is a good thing. So thanks guys, and if you like this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!